Well, good morning, afternoon, early afternoon, late afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. Thank you for being here on this business automation success webinar. We're going to be talking about a very powerful technology called RPA, Robotic Process Automation. Sounds like a very technical term. It just means you get more done in less time. It just means it takes stress away. It means it increases your revenue, reduces your costs, and expands your market share. That's what it does. And you're going to learn today more about that. My name is Rob Howes, and I am the co-founder, one of the co-founders of Simply Automate. And it's my pleasure to be here. It's my pleasure to introduce these wonderful people who will be sharing some information with you that I hope that you take. You write some notes down, you ask some questions, and you begin to take action. I promise you this. This webinar here will give you some insight that will help you move your business forward. It is a fact. As a matter of fact, there's going to be a wonderful guest on here. His name is Guy Gimmer, and he is going to be sharing his experience. He's the CEO of PS Properties and has been winning big with this technology. And your webinar presenters for today is a friend, partner, and founder, co-founder, really the founder is the first one. He created Simply Automate, Mr. Wilton Rogers. He's been in this RPA game for a very long time. RPA has been around for a while, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It's just started to surface for the regular world within the last 5 years, but it's been around for a while. But now it's become available for small and medium-sized businesses to be able to afford it and use it. So you're going to learn about that. So Wilton's going to share. He's going to talk with Guy about that. He's going to share some insights. We also have a great partner, Dmitry Karpov. He's the Chief Innovation Officer and co-founder of ElectroNeek. ElectroNeek is an outstanding company that's helping businesses all around the world, including us, to do what I said earlier. Increase revenue, reduce costs, expand market share, and release stress. Because nobody really needs to be behind the computer doing monotonous, mundane, repetitive tasks. No one needs to do that. That's what we have robots for. They can help us. The robots are here to help. So Wilton, and make sure you stick around to the end. It's a very, very special surprise. You want to be here at the end. Remember I said that. Be here at the end because there's a very special surprise for anyone who is still here. And so, if you have any distractions around you, try to get rid of them. Turn your phones off, laser focus in, and I guarantee you, this will be an experience you will be happy that you were a part of. Without further ado, I want to introduce my friend, partner, Mr. Wilton Rogers. Take us away.
Hey Rob, thank you, man. Love your introduction, dude. You're amazing at that. So I really like it. It's been a great ride to be part of this process with you. Like Rob was saying, thank you guys, everybody, for joining us today. Definitely excited to share what we're about to share with you today. I'm very, very grateful to have Dmitry and Guy on with us. That way, you're not just hearing it from us. You're hearing it from people who have experience, both on the software end and both as a client end or a customer end. So, give a little bit of background about me. I've been in the industry since 2017, working on the enterprise level for a while. Try to figure out ways to really impact the small and medium-sized businesses. Very hard to do for a long period of time until I ran into one of Dmitry's videos and thought he was too good to be true. And when you think it's too good to be true, you sometimes walk away from it. I'm glad we didn't walk away. Got to know him more, got to know their vision and what they were doing, and actually seeing their growth over the last year has been amazing, just to tell you that. But I definitely want to go into detail about what we're going to cover today. We'll get right into it. I know there's quite a few people here that aren't familiar with RPA, so I'm going to sort of break that down for you right away, and then go into a little bit about what where it's going, what it's doing, and what we're done, and then I'll introduce you to Guy. Guy is actually the first small business that came on board with us. And I'll go into more detail about that when we get there. But it's been a great ride with him as well. So we'll share that here shortly. So let me go to share my screen. All right. Dmitry, can you see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up if you can. All right. So like I said, we're Simply Automate. We've been in business since 2019. We switched our name. It was Skill Through Automation. We switched it to Simply Automate because we want to make automation simple. We have made it simple. We found a very easy way to make it simple. So what we're going to be covering today is really fast. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time. I know there's a lot of bullets on here, but it's going to go real fast. We'll talk a little bit about RPA, what it looks like in the future, who needs to be aware of RPA, the problems businesses are facing today, the solutions that you can have using RPA, and I want to introduce you to Simply Automate. Well, first of all, how we can help, of course, introduce you to Sai, which is our Simply Automate bot. I was going to show you a video use case. We're going to skip that just for time's sake. We'll be able to give you a link to show you those use cases because they're pretty powerful. We just did a couple of them recently. They're great. And I want to introduce you to Guy. Guy will share his experience, testimonies, and of course, turn it over to Dmitry. And then like Rob said, we have something very special at the end. So hold on, don't go anywhere until the end because you don't want to miss out on this one. But for those that don't know about RPA, RPA is basically a technology that mimics what human interacts with, how they interact with software. And they do repetitive, rule-based, monotonous, tedious type roles that are manually done by employees. And, it usually RPA runs 10, 15, 20 times faster than a human could do it without any errors and delays. It follows the logic, the rules that you've already built, and it automates that. So all businesses have software applications, emails, documents, all these things. A lot of them don't talk to each other. Some are integrated, most of them aren't. We find the rules or the mapping of what that looks like, and we automate it. It seems it could be a little confusing. Everything that we do is pretty much customized. It's customized for what you are currently doing. So in other words, if you're doing it right now, all we do is find out what it is that you're doing, and we map it out for you. What this looks like, and this is one of the reasons why we really wanted to hit the market and really focus on the SMB. This came out from Grandview Research years ago. And this is before it really got into before it was in an enterprise world, right? Being here in 2017, I was like, why? I see the growth already in the enterprise, but if we can break into the SMB and SME market, that would be huge. And we've done that. And, before we were able to do that, just looking at the stats of where it was going, the growth rate that it was looking at back then was at almost 33% growth rate. Well, they just did a report now, a new report not too long ago. It's been a few months, but after the pandemic. And it's expected to have a growth rate of over 60% by 2024. That's pretty massive. And we are seeing a lot of that right now. We are seeing a lot of SMEs. The SMB market is still trying to pick up on it a little bit, but the SMEs are really trying to understand it, are being educated on RPA. And so we are seeing a lot of opportunities within the SMEs, and now, of course, breaking little by little into the SMB. Business process as a service is in big demand right now. And if you can see this chart right now, you'll see the software and is the purple part, and the service end is the light blue part. So the light blue part is where we fit, right? That's us. We are an RP development firm. We work with vendors, we work with ElectroNeek directly, and we develop processes. So we work with clients that are looking to automate, and we have a team to do that. So we're not a service provider. A software provider. We're a service provider. We do the service. This is the service end. But the growth there is huge. And what I mean by huge is when we see clients automating 1 or 2 processes, they're moving on to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 processes because now they have a clear understanding of the value and the benefits of automating a lot of the processes instead of putting that on the back burner. Now they're putting it more of in the front, and they are trying to find ways that they can automate, but also they have a clear understanding of how they can be automated. And Give you a little background about the industry. The industry really started in the enterprise world. And what we put here is awareness. Pretty much everybody in the enterprise knows what RPA is. Either they're integrating now or it's already been integrated. Most of your big time, Fortune 500 companies, they're all already pretty much have some kind of RPA implementation. But what we are seeing a lot of awareness, but not a lot of implementation is in the SME and SMB market. And that's sort of where we lie. That's where we live. Our focus is to really bring awareness first, educate, give them the knowledge they need to understand it, and then help them to show them exactly how we can automate these processes or how they can get it automated. Whether it's with us or someone else, how they can get it automated. But what we're finding out now is that a lot of businesses that are jumping into RPA because they know they need it, but aren't really getting a true understanding or education of it, it's really delayed a lot of processes. In some cases, it's actually taken away opportunities because some people just aren't bought into it. They're like, no, it doesn't work for my company. But it was maybe because they weren't shown the right way or they didn't do enough research to make sure that they can implement it the right way. But those that do are really seeing it big change right now. It's happening whether we like it or not. Automation is here. It's here to stay. This is almost like we tease about it, but it's almost like Google. People didn't even know what Google was a long time ago, right? Now everybody uses it. Everybody knows what the word Google means. When I first heard that word, I was like, what is Google? What does that word even mean? Same thing with RPA. What is RPA? People really don't know what it means. But as we grow and as time goes, people are going to know what it means. They're going to know what it does. And right now, our focus is to really educate the SME and SMB market. The problems that we're seeing and the problems that are obviously out there right now are the labor costs. We know the cost of labor, hiring somebody to do work, right? If it's not customer facing, it should be automated. If it's not spending time to be able to work with clients, it should be automated, right? Find the right talent. When you do find the right talent, just to hire them costs money, just to get them on board. And then you have the overhead, the employee, the benefits, the social security, the pay time off, the training, the technology they have to learn. It grows and grows. It's just a steps and steps and steps before you get to a point where they feel comfortable. And then we're all human. And of course, we make mistakes, right? Bots don't make mistakes. They follow those rules and they don't make mistakes. So it's very easy for those positions of manual type works to be automated. Anything behind a computer, you could pretty much look into being automated. And the retention, I read an article this past week. In fact, I think I posted it yesterday on LinkedIn. I posted on LinkedIn that over 15 million people have quit their jobs the last quarter. Now, I'm sure some of them moved on to other jobs or what have you, but 15 million. A lot of those jobs were manual processes. They weren't feeling valued. They didn't see the benefit of them moving, staying with them. There was no growth opportunity. They didn't have the creativity. They weren't customer facing. It was almost like they were in a box where they had to sit down and sort of put their head down and go to work. Where automation allows companies now to automate those processes and allow those same clients, those same employees, be customer facing, be client facing, being in front of somebody where they can show their value, they can bring more productivity to the company, and it'll benefit everybody in the long run. So we are seeing a huge change. Now, the enterprise is a different ballgame than the small and medium-sized businesses and small enterprise. Small enterprise and small businesses are looking to keep those employees and move them onto other positions that bring more value. And we work with a client that we did an automation for that had 4 full-time and 1 part-time employee doing a process. We're able to automate the full process where they only kept the part-time doing it, and those 4 moved into customer-facing, management type positions, and other positions that will actually give more value to the client, to the business. And everybody around, not only the 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 CEO was happy, but the employees were happy because now they got away from those just sitting behind a desk and being able to just type away all day long, doing the same thing day after day after day. So retention is huge. And I want to sort of introduce you to our bot. We named him Sai. It's a Simply Automate bot, and his name is Sai. And Sai is always looking for jobs. He's seeking out these roles that people don't like to do, these repetitive, mundane type roles that no one really enjoys doing, but has to get done. But Sai loves to do them. The thing about Sai, he doesn't make any errors. He never gets tired or bored. He doesn't ask for 401k, the whole bit, right? In fact, don't take your drinks away from the office, or he won't embarrass you at a holiday party. So realistically, Sai will do all those tasks that no one really likes to do. People do them just because they have to get a paycheck. It's a steady paycheck. But once they realize they can step away from that and be more productive somewhere else, Sai steps in and things change. So Sai is always looking for work. Right now, he's done quite a few processes for us, but the ones that are really sticking out and the ones that stand out for us that we're seeing a lot of are like invoice processing, payroll, data entry, bank reconciliation, sales orders, inventory management. There's a lot of ones that we are currently doing, but understand that we can take any process, map it out. Once we map it out, Sai will go to work. He does everything for you. And the great thing about this is that we can do this in 30 days or less. So it doesn't take that long. Before, we had a process where it would take us months to complete. We worked out a system right now that we have where we can, as the communication is we have a system that we can communicate with our clients on a regular basis. And the easier we communicate with them, the faster we can get these processes automated. And we found out that it doesn't matter the complexity of the process. We worked on high complexity processes where there was many steps that took place, and we knocked it out within 30 days. So just to give you an idea of how long this really takes, it doesn't take too long. So by today, if you know a process that you want to automate or you're thinking about automating, by next month, before Thanksgiving, that process will be totally automated. No questions asked. And right now we're I would say 99%, because when we first started, we had one but we found out it was more of the communication part. Outside of that, it's been running pretty smooth. And the great thing about this is the average ROI that we're seeing from our clients is about 150% to 325%. That's a huge savings. So how much of that time can go be allocated to something totally different, right? So we're not going to do a process if we know you're not going to see an immediate ROI. If you don't see an ROI, we don't do it. We don't even map it out, because during our conversations, we pretty much have an idea of what that's going to look like once this is completed. So we pretty much have that system nailed down, and we feel pretty comfortable with what we're doing. So I can talk out more about what I do and what our company does and where we're going, but I definitely want to introduce you to Guy. And I'll give you a little bit of background about Guy. I've known Guy for quite a few years. In fact, when I was working, before I started my company, I was working with another company, and I was able to sit down and talk to Guy and get him going. There was like a 2-year gap that we had, and he'll share his story, but there was hesitance to really let go of these processes that he was holding on to. And the minute he did that, everything changed. And I don't even know, he'll probably tell you how many processes were on with him, but it's been great working with him, and knowing that when we start working with him and knowing we can start working with a company his size, we know that we had cracked the code for the SMB market. And the only reason why we cracked that code, which I'll go into here after Guy comes on, is because of ElectroNeek. ElectroNeek allowed us to penetrate a sector that was untapped, was that no one had the ability to do. And I'll talk about that more after Guy. So Guy, go ahead and take it away. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, you guys. I'm always grateful to be able to share kind of what we've been able to do together, because I think there are lots of people who are missing out on what RPA can offer to a small business. We currently post pandemic are really a 4-employee company. There's about 7 of us total now, and you would think that's probably not the size of a company that's looking at using bots, right, to try to automate their systems and that type of thing. But the reality is that the systems themselves provide so much value that a small company probably can benefit from it more than a large company can, if you understand what it does and how it works, and how you can leverage it. And so, Wilton had mentioned we were working together before he had started started Simply and was working for another company, and that bot still runs today. And I couldn't calculate the amount of time and headache that one has saved me, just that first bot. And then it took me a while to kind of realize, hey, there are other opportunities to do this same type of thing. I just have to get my mind around how the bot process can work. And then once I figured that out, I was able to take several of my software systems and combine the bot to be able to connect those 3 and then generate this sort of self-sufficient running thing that I literally don't touch anymore. It's something that it pulls a report from one software system, generates these emails, takes these videos that I've created to put into the emails, sends those out, and then in the emails there are links that the recipients can use to respond. And then once we get a response, we also get a text message, so we know that we've gotten a response and we know what kind of follow-up that person needs. And so we don't even have to touch that whole front end process anymore. And so kind of to the things that were on the last slide, Wilton had mentioned labor costs, employee overhead, errors, and then the last thing that was on the following slide was the ROI piece. And I think what's beneficial is that as you sort of get over the hump of understanding what it is that a bot does and how it can help you, you understand the areas where there might be good ROI and then there might not. So there was a bot that we were kind of brainstorming on and thinking through and trying to figure out. And it was like, well, can we get it to do this? And then can we get it to do that? And then it was like, hang on, there's too many pieces that are disjointed that really aren't an automated piece. There's no ROI here. This one doesn't make sense. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. And so ultimately, we're at the point where we have 5 separate running bots that do a number of different things, but have the ability to literally log into our software and generate reports through our systems based on the information that we give it, right? So sometimes Wilton uses different language that to the layman, we don't really know what he's talking about. And it really is, you tell it what to do, right? So it goes into our software, it runs the report based on however we want the report to be run, right? Within a timeline or these certain accounts or whatever the case may be, whatever the data set that you need to pull so that you can make contact with those people, or that you can generate that report from it, or whatever it is. So you provide it with that information just based on how you go into the software and click and type and the information you put in, and it generates that. So once you realize that it really is just as simple as that, is Like, what is it that you do after you log into your software? Okay, the bot can do that. The bot can do all of those same things. Actually, it can even log in. You don't even have to log it in. It does it on its own. So you really hit, like, again, the labor cost. Not having somebody sitting there that you're paying their unemployment and their workman's comp and all of those additional pieces. All of that stuff is not a cost to you when you have a bot doing that work. That, obviously adds to the lack of errors, right? He mentioned that Cy doesn't need time off, and he works 24 hours a day, and he's not going to bug you or cause you problems at the Christmas party, those types of things. And the reality is that he just doesn't make errors, right? Because it's based on how you go into the system and where you click and the things that you type. And so it doesn't have any emotional ties. It's not tired in the afternoons. None of that stuff happens because it's just a computer system that you've programmed to do things the way that you want it to. So once you really figure those things out, once you realize just how simple it really is, you can really start to be in the mindset of how, what other bots can I create? What other ways can I leverage this in within the office? And you'll really be in a position to where you can use it for what it's really worth, and really get the most out of it. And I think for me, that was the biggest barrier after the first bot, was really just being willing to give up some of those things and work through how much of it I understood and how much of it really could be automated. And since then, we've done quite a bit, and we really love it. So it's good stuff.
Awesome, Guy. Thank you so much. And it's been,
Sure.
He's working with Guy. It really has allowed us to understand how to simplify our process on our end. He had a lot of just because of him being open to the opportunity, we've been able to really systemize our process from the beginning to end. And knowing that we can work with a company his size was a game changer for us. And that was huge. So thank you. And it really wasn't an opportunity that we had until we really met, until we were introduced to ElectroNeek. And we work with many vendors. We've worked with many vendors in the past. And it was one vendor to another vendor was like, it felt like it didn't matter who we worked with, we just couldn't penetrate a market that we wanted to penetrate. And we knew there was opportunity. We knew it. We knew that we can have the opportunity to do it. But then when we met ElectroNeek and talked to Dmitry and talked to the other founders and just saw their vision, we were blown out the water. We're like, okay, these guys are for real. Our team has some experience working with the other vendors. And so we sort of try to put ElectroNeek to the test to find out if they were real. And, we on the back end, we're like, can they do this? We know this vendor can do that. Can they do this? The things that we felt that were sort of slowing us down or delaying some of our processes, and we approached them with it and said, hey, you know what? It seems like you guys aren't able to do this. Literally within 24, 48 hours, now they can do it. And it just sort of thinking like, okay, these guys are on a different level. Who are these guys? And that sort of opened the door. And from then, long story short, I'm going to introduce Dmitry here now, but since we've been with them, our company has grown over 300% in the last 3 quarters. And going into this last quarter is the biggest quarter we're having right now out of all of them. So that's where it tells you where the industry is going. And there's no way we could have done it without the partnership that we have with them, but also the knowledge that they share with us, because we've been able to take what they do and share that with our clients and share with our team. So without any further ado, I'm gonna let you take it away, let you talk more about your company Dmitry, the floor is yours.
Hi, Wilton. Hi, everyone. It's a big pleasure to be here. And Guy, thank you so much for sharing your story. That these stories keep me inspired and pretty much help me to confirm that we are on the right track. 3 years ago, I left a big company to pretty much fulfill that dream of making automation, such complex automation as RPA, accessible and affordable to companies of all sizes. And the software here plays only part of the story. The second part is our partners like Simply Automate, who deliver that automation to the market as a service. And that's what really makes that model working for companies of all sizes. So I spent and pretty much continue to spend my time on evangelizing automation as a service, which I think is the right way for the community across the world to benefit from complex technologies like RPA. For instance, we all can benefit from automation. Let's make an analogy: cybersecurity. We all understand that we need cybersecurity, but does it mean that all companies need to hire someone who will be dedicated to running cybersecurity in a restaurant shop or in a warehouse? Maybe not. And that's where service providers, those entrepreneurs who create jobs to make these complex technologies available to companies of all sizes, play their critical and important role. And your growth of 300% over 9 months means that 3 times more clients now have their automations up and running and harnessing all the benefits of automation gains, including cost of errors. So today I wanted to talk a bit about the audience, why you should be working with service partner and not try to implement RPA yourself, specifically when you're looking into a few business processes. So let me walk you through the thinking. And this story that I'm going to tell you will be exactly the same if I would be presenting to any audience, because that's big vision that our company is fulfilling now, that automation should be delivered as a service, because that makes it so convenient for everyone, for businesses, for managed service providers, for software vendors like us, because we want our tools to be in the hands of professionals, of those for whom automation of labor, repetitive labor, is a full-time job, who is managed by experienced team leaders and business leaders like Wilton and Rob, who do have experience and understand how to build the relationships with clients that support automation at scale, because that's a mindset you need to have. So let me jump into a few slides that I prepared for today. Sorry for the delay. Okay, here we are. Don't repeat, automate. That's our major slogan. And what I like about that is when we have the sense of something being repetitive, that's where it turns into routine. Any process when you run it the first time is a creative to a certain degree, but over time, the execution becomes more important than creativity. And that's exactly where we want to hand this job from us, from humans, to technology, to bots, to robots. So if you understand what RPA is, you probably want to elevate opportunity for RPA in your company. And that's the start of the journey, automation journey that most business leaders have. And they look into 2 different spaces. I will be looking, if I were you, into 2 different spaces. Should I find a managed service provider who can provide me with RPA as a service, or bot as a service? I'm going to explain the difference in a few minutes. Or I want to build a capability, a team inside my company that will be using these tools to automate work. And the first question I will be asking is, do you really want to automate a few business processes, or you want to acquire a strategic capability to automate everything you do? And for majority of companies, at least in the start of the journey, that comes to a few processes. Maybe you don't even know the process. Actually, managed service provider can help you to find one if you don't. But let's say you know, and you're looking into what will be different ROIs, you start to compare cost of services, cost of technologies. believe me, from all my experience in RPA, which is more than 6 years, including the largest Fortune 500 companies and consulting firms, you likely will always make less ROI on implementing internally when you have a rigid number of processes, because you need to also acquire experience, you need to hire people, and all these human costs. Automation is mostly driven by human costs, and the human costs of automation, sometimes they outweigh the gains. And if you have a few processes, it's always better to find a professional who will help you to scope, to capture the process correctly, to divide what should be done and when based on number of exceptions and the process design. And in the case of ElectroNeek, will likely avoid you, will help you to save all the software costs. If you don't want to automate a few processes, my question is to you, why? Why you turning away from such powerful thing as RPA? And my bet is that you think that you don't have a process that is long enough, repetitive enough, delivered at volume enough, or where cost of error is that big. Honestly, I think if you have a company of more than 10 people, the chance that you do have a process with positive ROI on RPA is relatively high, 90%, 85%. So, but let's say you decided that you want to automate pretty much everything that is repetitive in nature. You want to completely offload your organization from repetitive tasks, and RPA is the way to do that. So if you don't need that capability, again, your door is working with partner all the time. So if you want to acquire that, my question to you would be, how big is your company with regard to how big is the investment you want to make? First of all, the human investment. Are you going to hire developers? How experienced they will be? What about solution architects, process analysts, who will be doing your task mining and process mining, if any? I suggest that if you belong to SMB or mid-market segment, you look at RPA as a service is the right way to consume the benefits of automation because of the risks, because of the costs. I tend to believe that this market belongs to service companies, because for them, that's a bread and butter. That's where the expertise is on the top level. That's where long-term relationships allow you to, in fact, build the capability through the partnership. If you're an enterprise, that's where the ROI may be very different when you automate, let's say, 20, 50, 100 processes. But many enterprises failed in their RPA projects because they pretty much trusted to vendors who pitched them the idea that they can do everything on their own, that RPA is easy, and so on. RPA is easy when you work with professionals. RPA is much harder when you try to become professional yourself. There is a learning curve. And that's why we recommend still to start with a partner, even if you want to build a center of excellence inside your company. The partner will bring you where you want to be in 2-3 times less time that you will get there yourself. So let's decide that you want to work with managed service provider on RPA, and you probably want to understand what does it mean from business engagement perspective. Without going very deep into the details, typically the business relationship with your automation provider depend on 2 things. Who owns as intellectual property the bots that were built to automate your processes, and where these bots are hosted. In the first case, when the bots are owned by your business as a client, where you essentially invited someone to build this bot for you, but this bot is yours, and you run it in your infrastructure, that's in general called RPA implementation. That's usually where you pay upfront costs for the development and engage into maintenance contract with a service provider. And maintenance for RPA usually stands for if the process changes or interface changes or something changes that breaks the logic of process execution, then it requires maintenance, it requires some adjustment. And usually that's where managed service providers fully deliver on a managed service part of their name. More common and much more affordable, I think, for SMB and mid-market is RPA as a service model or bot as a service model. In this model, the bot that is developed belongs as intellectual property to managed service provider, which allows managed service provider to decrease your upfront investment in technology, but to allow you to pay for the bot up and running by subscription. RPA as a service is a very specific term. It means that the bot is hosted in your managed service provider infrastructure. So they create a virtual machine that has the same software that you do have in your working environment, and they take care of everything: infrastructure, software, services to build the bot, maintenance, all included. What typically client pays would be a subscription fee. Bot as a service is something that was introduced by ElectroNeek. It's our big innovation in the market. We essentially allow anyone in the world to run ElectroNeek bots in any infrastructure, and it doesn't come with any license strings attached to that, which means that managed service provider can build the bot for you. It still will be their intellectual property. You wouldn't be able to modify the bot, but it will be working in your infrastructure. So the subscription fee will be less for you because the partner will not be carrying the infrastructure costs. And these are important because RPA is like self-driving cars for the roads that exist today. So you don't want to build new roads for self-driving cars. You get the most of them when you use the same roads that you have today, but in automated fashion. So the bot comes to your computer or your server and runs there when it's needed, and fully maintained and managed by service provider. This was called bot as a service. Again, a subscription-dominated model. So let's now talk about the business and talk about what processes to automate in the first place. I call them POC or priority processes. Why? As Guy said before, the first bot is an experience that is transformative to understanding and awareness of what RPA does and how it works. And if you work on the bot for 6 or 9 months and it doesn't create the excitement in your business, that a short bot that maybe doesn't do too much, but can be done, built in a matter of weeks or months, and then can provide visible gains and ROI that are understood across your organization, and you understand it as a business leader yourself, then your learning curve will be much quicker and your adoption of RPA will be much more impactful. A long time ago, Forrester research agency introduced the rule of 5. A rule of 5 means that RPA bots do the best when they work in less than 5 apps, less than 5 decisions, and less than 500 steps. So we extrapolated that rule and confirmed over the last few years, then when you go down the market to mid-market and SMB, that rule of 5 should be transformed to something even simpler, rule of 3 or rule of 4. So if you're a small business and you consider what to automate and you have a couple of processes, don't look only at ROI perspective. ROI is important. You will harness that ROI, but think about the order, how you prioritize smaller opportunities ahead, because they will help you to decrease time to value, which is very important for a complex technology like RPA. If we look at that from a bit more advanced perspective, like say deeper dive, and you really want to prioritize many processes for automation, there is a metrics that we developed at ElectroNeek that you can use as a client when you engage with service provider, or as a service provider when you evaluate processes. So it expands the rule of thumb. It's very important to look at variability of process inputs. You likely don't want to automate a process that can capture 100 of different templates and docs coming and extract information from them. No, start with something that's more standard. Or separate what will be done by a robot, what will be processed manually. That's totally fine. OCR, extracting data from scanned docs, is very impactful from ROI perspective, may not be the best fit for the first project. Number of applications, error handling. So how critical is your process for an error? If it's a customer service and the bot, for some reason, cannot deliver, there's something in the logic, or it ran in some unusual situation, how it should call a human to intervene and to maybe jump on the customer interaction side. We also encourage you to focus on processes that are less unique to your organization, because likely service provider will have experience working with this process and can deliver it quicker at a better cost for you. So if you want to get this PDF, please send me a note. That's my email on the screen. We'll send you this one pager if it's useful for you. And when we originally planned this event, I wanted to kind of map 2 different journeys in 2 different industries. And accounting is very important industry or function, even more, I think, from function perspective, to think about when you evaluating your company for RPA. usually an accounting department, specifically between accounting system and invoices or accounting system and tax system. There's a gaps in IT infrastructure that could be very easily filled with bots doing repetitive tasks. And I think that Wilton and Rob, they do have significant experience in the industry. At least I know it from happy clients whom we refer to them from time to time. So for the accounting industry, I can talk about the cases, but let's save each other time. We built pretty robust bot library on our website where you can find descriptions of what exactly bot does in these processes on a high level that is good to digest for a business user, not technical user. You can also find cases there from other industries, but accounting is good hunting grounds for your first processes to automate. With this regard, let me stop the presentation. Again, it was a pleasure, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Dmitry. I'm glad you brought up the accounting. I think, for us, we're seeing a huge growth in that industry when it comes down to people wanting to automate in the accounting industry or accounting departments. That has probably been our number one sector that we're really hitting. So I think right now, 70% of our business probably in the last few months have been that, and it isn't really stopping anytime soon. Although we're not just in that industry, we're just seeing that tension. It just feels like they're talking within that industry, and they're wanting to do more automation. So that's been huge. So thank you. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll answer some questions. I definitely want to share one more thing with you guys before we let Dmitry and Guy go. Answer some questions maybe for us, and then we'll go from there. But want to share something with you that we are we're going to get ready to do this month. So we call this Free October month. Okay. Free October month. We're going to send, I think Jason or someone's going to put a questionnaire that we have out there, right? You set up a date, we fill out this questionnaire, set up a date, and the other things that you'll receive from that. We'll set up a call, and we'll actually do a discovery call before we do this. We'll do a discovery call, and then we'll do a design call. We'll walk you through, once we get a design and understand what you want to do, we'll design and we'll walk through the process. And then once we identified a process that you want to do, then what we'll do is we'll map it out for you. We'll have our analysts go in there and really map it out for you. Once it's mapped out, we'll start the development. We'll start developing for you. Once we develop the process for you, we'll show it to you live. And basically, we'll show you exactly what we did from the manual process you were doing, what it looks like automated. So you're actually going to see it live. We'll see what it looks like on your end, the front end and the back end. You actually see the bot running. So you actually get to see what it looks like. And then we'll deploy SI. We'll deploy the bot, right? And that's it. We'll deploy it. And then we'll let it run in your environment for 30 days for free. So basically, we're taking all the risk up front, all the risk. So once we get you to fill the questionnaire and you follow the process from 1 to 4, that could be a 72-hour period. Okay. And then from 4 to 5, that could be a little bit from a week to probably 3-week period. And then right after that, it launches. And then from that point, you let it run. We'll let it run for 30 days. So you actually get to feel it. There's no obligation. There's absolutely no obligation to you. If it happens that you don't like it, guess what? All you gotta do is shut it off. No farm, no foul, no harm, no foul. So we'll let it go. But what we'll also do during that 30 days is we'll do process improvement. So once it's up and running, we don't expect for it to be perfect once we automate it. We expect it to be as perfect as it is already in what you're doing, but there's always ways to improve that process. And that's what we found out, is that we follow what our clients tell us from end to end. We deploy it, but there's always there ways that we can improve it. And so now we have a team that can go and do some process improvement for you. So by the time the 30 days is up, maybe that process is just fully automated. You didn't even know it could be fully automated. And that offer obviously ends today. So if you fill out the questionnaire today and you schedule something, we'll know it came through from you guys. So all you have to do is fill out the questionnaire. Probably takes you about 3 or 4 minutes to fill out, and then we will start the process. And I know I got an email just a minute ago saying, what if we're a consultant? We have other clients. You probably have to get in front of your clients. If we know you're working, if you're on here because you want to learn what RPA is, so you can provide to your clients as well, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll extend that. We just send an email saying, I'm a client, I'm a consultant. I'd like to extend this to my client, and we'll extend that for you. That way they can actually reap the rewards as well. So we don't want to just say everybody on here today. But if you do have a business, fill out that question out today. If you're a consultant, just send us an email. We'll extend that, a few days or something like that. We'll send this video to you. You can show them the video. We'll extend that to you. But that's it. And I think Jason, he shared it on there. It's the link is there. We'll follow with the email later on. But if you do own a company, what I suggest, even just for the education purposes, and just for the really understanding how you can automate this, how it can be customized for you in your business. That's the main thing, is to get that understanding. Because once you understand it, that aha moment will happen. Even going through this webinar today, you probably got pieces of it, not the whole thing. But then once you're in it, it'll start clicking. Just like guys shared, it went from one to another, and he literally started sending us videos. He recorded videos, pre-recorded videos, said, this is what I want. And he would record them and send them to us. And it made it so much easier for us. So he got that aha moment. And once that happened, it really changed the scope of his business, and hopefully could do for you as well. So that is pretty much it. Guy, Dmitry, I definitely appreciate you guys coming on board and sharing your experience and your knowledge and what you're doing on as a business and as a vendor, and how you guys are growing. It's been great to see ElectroNeek grow to what they're growing now. It feels like every time I talk to somebody, I'm talking to someone new on the team, because they're just adding more people as they're growing. And so you see where RPA is going, and you're seeing the growth of not only our vendor, but also us as a business, as a development firm, but also businesses like Guy. So it's a triple whammy right here. So it does work. You just have to take that time to really get educated on it and see how it can impact your company as well. So that's it. Jason, do we have any questions, or did we answer them all? Anything come through?
Yeah, we'll send out an email in case people get caught up. But no, I think everything made sense. If anyone has questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
Don't see anything coming through at this time. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just, if they do have questions, once they, thank you, Lena, I appreciate it. If you do have questions, you'll all get an email. You can reply back to that email. We'll be more than happy to help you. Anything else you want to add, Guy, Dmitry, before we go?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in and say, I've had people reach out to me on LinkedIn actually, and just say, hey, I'm looking at, using RPA. What can you tell me about how it's worked for you, and some specifics on how it works? And I'm happy to help in that regard too. So if you've got a question that's about functionality or whatever, feel free to track me down, and I'd be more than happy to kind of walk you through how these guys have helped me get things going.
Right, thank you. What we'll do is we'll add your LinkedIn profile on the email as well. So appreciate it. All right, Dmitry, anything?
I just wanted again to say a big thank you. I think with every event we do like this somewhere in the world, the automation becomes more and more accessible to those who really need it. And let's just keep in mind, automation is not about eliminating jobs. Automation is about creating jobs that make other jobs more efficient.
We'll definitely end on that note. It's perfectly said. we'll give you guys 2 minutes back. So thank you all for joining us today. We definitely appreciate you taking the day out and learning more about us. And we hope this is the first of many conversations we'll have with each and every one of you. So everyone have a great day and thank you.